Welcome to Rice TVX and the newest episode of the Rice Crypto Show. Give me a 5x5. Let me know that you can hear me loud and clear. Today, I am joined somebody I've known for quite a few years. One of my brothers from another mother. I am joined by your favorite ex-truck driver in the whole wide world, Bitcoin Ben. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Give me that 5x5. I gave myself a 5x5. I can hear myself loud and clear. And here we go. So before we begin, a few quick messages from the sponsors of Rice TVX who make it possible for me to do this full time. Shout out to Presearch and shout out to Monarch Wallet. You can always find information in every video description for both. I also want to remind people that I do have a brand new YouTube channel. So if you are a fan of the Stranger Than Fiction content, make sure you are subscribed to my new channel, Rice Against the Grain. You can find information in the video description. And also today, I just premiered my second interview with Jason Brashears from Archaic. So make sure you check those out. There's lots of new content over there featuring Old World Florida, Jacob Israel, and much more. I just did an interview yesterday with Sheriff Mack that is available on my Patreon channel, and it will be available publicly on Rice Against the Grain later in the week. Now, before we begin, a channel promo, make sure you're paying attention because here's how you stay up to date with all things Rice. Before we get into it, make sure you visit ricetvx.com and sign up for my mailing list so you never miss an update or new Rice TVX and Rice Against the Grain content. You will also find links to all of my various channels as well as my social media. Make sure you're following both of my YouTube channels, Rice TVX as well as Rice Against the Grain. And due to censorship, make sure you follow me on other alternative platforms such as Rumble and Odyssey, where I do post up exclusive content. If you want to support Rice TVX, be sure to check out and join my Patreon channel, where you will get early access to my videos with no ads, unedited. You will also get exclusive content and more. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring in our guest of honor today. I am joined by the man himself, Mr. Bitcoin Ben. Welcome to the show, my friend. How is it going?
What's up, my brother from another mother? How are you, brother?
Dude, I'm always good, and I'm always looking forward to conversations between me and yourself. So I definitely appreciate your time, and I'm definitely looking forward to catching up. I thought I had the link in a video description for our last conversation, which we did. I did not post a full interview on YouTube because of censorship.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to find that video real quick because I was also trying to get the date of when we were doing that. And it's weird; it's not coming up with the search. Bitcoin Ben. I'll find it. I think it was just like maybe 4 months ago that we had talked, but I'll have a link for that in the video description as well as for your website. Some people may not know about your mini bands on YouTube and your mini channels.
Yeah.
And this is your latest channel that people can subscribe to. I would love to get that subscriber number up. And then also you have your Rumble channel as well as your Patreon. So I'll have all these linked down below so people can check all that out. Oh, no problem, my friend. But I want to ask you, man, what's been up with you lately? I feel like, this is like a real time me and you kind of catching up conversation that we're just happening to allow people to eavesdrop on.
Yeah. Well, I like yourself, we're as we were actually talking about off air, was we're like the second generation crypto YouTubers. You have the OOGs, who were like old legends like Ohm or Bam, Ivan on Tech, uh 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 Annapolis, uh
I love
and
Andreas.
right, and a few other OGs. Then, and of course, our good friend, uh, old, Jesus, Wild Man.
Are you
Uh,
talking about KB?
yeah,
Mr. Bozak,
Bozak.
the crypto
Oh,
legend himself?
yes, that dude. Uh, his show was actually the first show I was ever on. Was actually his show.
That's the one thing that we share in common.
Yep.
Because I was on his show. It was early January 2018. I was procrastinating about starting my channel, and it kind of kick started me doing it. So I didn't want to just be somebody on his channel. And so I went ahead. My channel was already, I had the channel started, but no videos. So I went ahead and did an introduction and 2 other videos. So I had 3 videos by the time that we did that interview. And then within 2 months, maybe less, we had started a brand new show together with another individual last
I
week in
remember
crypto.
that.
So yeah, we go back, man. And I miss Bozak. I'm trying to get him back into the game, man.
Yeah, you talk about knowledge.
Yeah.
That guy is a cornucopia of knowledge. I mean, he I remember, uh, God, just like we were actually, because really the only things out were actually like Ripple and like Bitcoin
The
and
3 on
Ethereum.
Coinbase. Remember that when it was Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum?
Yep. I remember when it was only friggin' Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then uh, Charlie Lee got segregated witness on Litecoin, and they wound up actually putting Litecoin up on Coinbase. And that's when it went from like $1 up to $340
Are we talking
within,
2017?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was nuts. Those days were like, it was insane the amount of money that people were making. And I mean, just like the level of excitement, like, and all of a sudden, like I said, this is YouTube channel number 4 for me.
Number 4. I was wondering what number it was. I was saying when I was saying earlier, I knew there was multiple. So this is, you should call this Bitcoin Ben Show 4.
Yeah, the original one got up to 60 something thousand subscribers. Then the second one hit 30. Then the third one hit 20. Now I launched this one, and I'm right at, where am I sitting now? Like
You joined
3,000.
this started January 3rd, 22. So you're like right over you're at a 13-month anniversary right now.
Yeah,
You're sitting at a little over 3,000 on here, but you're killing it over on Rumble with 5.38K.
yeah, I have people who will accidentally see my channel and go, dude, where have you been? And I'm like, I've always been here. It's just my channel keeps getting killed because I have a hard time not saying, things that
I turn it into a game. It sucks to self-censor, man, but I just turn it into a game and try to have as much fun with it as I possibly could. And you
yeah,
know what? When I scheduled this live stream, a couple people had asked that very question. Ben was, I thought he disappeared. I thought he
yeah.
retired.
That's what's crazy is I have a daily show. I'm on 46 different platforms. My largest audience is on Amazon Prime, which is very surprising. I get probably 30 to 40,000 views on Amazon.
Nice.
And it's in weird places like Poland and Australia. Apparently, I'm pretty popular in Australia. And then my second most popular platform is strangely enough on Roku.
Okay.
I get a ton. I have people send me pictures over on Patreon, or they'll usually email me because you can't really send pictures on Patreon of them and their wives watching my show in their bedroom on a big screen on Amazon or on Roku or on Google.
Is it available for free?
Yeah.
How did you? And that was going to be the next question: was how did you get your stuff on Prime and Roku and these other different?
I go through a streaming service. It's like software I upload to.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that off air. I'd be curious to learn more about that.
Yep. And then you upload it, and then it actually pulls it from your RSS feed.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's really simple.
I wanted to ask you about, I don't, because the last, and it was April of last year. I thought it was sooner that we had talked. I didn't know it was as long as April. So, I mean, it's been like 9-10 months, but what has El Salvador been like? Because you have spent some time there as a crypto enthusiast, as a guy who calls himself Bitcoin Ben in a place where Bitcoin is getting a lot of attention. What are your thoughts on El Salvador?
It's amazing. I run I'm one of the few YouTube people who actually capitalized on the technology of like blockchain and I turned into a crypto entrepreneur, and now I have an office up in St. Louis. I have an office in El Salvador, and I'm opening up a crypto sports bar / education center here in Sarasota, Florida. And it's El Salvador is crypto friendly. I mean, they are goo for friggin' Bitcoin down there. Don't let anybody tell you that crypto and blockchain and all that is dead. It's a fad. It's a fad. No, it's not. only in America, right, is the mainstream media and the old financial system they're slamming cryptos like crazy.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask you, because you were there, and what we're seeing reported on the mainstream news is obviously a controlled narrative. So I really wanted to kind of get some perspectives from somebody who actually visited, that's in the community. So that's,
Yeah, they are adopting it like crazy.
okay.
It is going gung ho. In fact, the president of El Salvador just paid the final payment to the international
The IMF.
the IMF.
Yeah, that's badass, man.
They are debt free.
Yeah, because there was a lot of speculation of what is going to happen here now that El Salvador has done what they've done, kind of bucked up against the IMF, and then now they've actually paid off their debt to the IMF. That's a big deal, man, and that should get a lot more coverage than it has gotten.
Oh, that's the reason why, because that's the roadmap out. Cryptos are the roadmap out for all of these countries. And don't think that the American people are being lied to. All right. This is why I'm on YouTube channel number 4. All right. The American people live in a matrix that doesn't exist. The reality of the world is not what America sees. The average American is, if they left America, they wouldn't recognize the real news. Hey, AKA Action, my boy.
Yeah, I've been highlighting comments.
In a bit, man.
He's got some new music out. You should talk to him about his music.
Oh, he's got great music, man. He's always been a great musician.
Yeah.
And freedom fighter. Johnny Mattis. Oh, he's a comedian out in California. He's a great guy too.
We got some old school people in the house, which is good, man.
Yeah. It's but the American people, literally, you leave America and
it's like we have our own bubble. It's like a bubble that isolates the United States. Again, that kind of goes in with what I was saying about the news and the mainstream media and a controlled narrative.
Yeah, it's the American people live in this illusion of a world where America's winning. America's still number one. America's right. America's a laughing stock.
Yeah.
To every other country out there. Look at China.
Well, Biden doesn't help our situation. It kind of gives them a little ammunition to kind of go on with all the other fuckery that's been happening to our nation. I mean, now we're like talking about raising a debt ceiling again, whether we're going to default on our debt. And here we are talking about Bitcoin leading us to true freedom.
It's if you watch the news in El Salvador, the evening news, the president sounds like you. I swear to God.
I definitely want to visit El Salvador.
The IMF is crooked. He talks about the Illuminati, and he's actually trying to teach his people the reason that El Salvador had 3 past presidents that all went to prison. was because the CIA corrupted all of them with drug money and got and owned all of them. This is the evening news. This is the president. It's like Trump if the media actually paid attention and would put out his truthful message.
Right. Instead of distorting it.
Right. And the rest of the world looks at America like we are Rome's falling. You know, they're like, wait, are they arguing over gender? Like, and the American people are like, no, we're not arguing over gender. This is stupid. There's a man, there's a woman. But from the media, the outside world sees us and honestly thinks that half of Americans believe there's 50 genders.
Yeah, going against everything that's nature. I mean, but in addition to that, I mean, I think one of the biggest things is the dollar is the world reserve currency, and look at what is happening to the dollar, and all the inflation and what's happening with the Federal Reserve, interest rates, trying to combat the inflation, what's happening, how that affects the rest of the world.
Well,
what are your thoughts on our current economic situation?
That's another lie. Is the dollar is not the reserve currency anymore. It isn't. The global shipping companies are not accepting dollars for shipments anymore.
A lot of companies aren't. Yeah.
A lot of oil companies, they don't want the dollar. There's this big lie out there that there's a shortage of dollars. Oh, the hell there is.
There's definitely not a shortage. I mean, this is the reason why we have inflation, is because we put more than half of the money supply in existence in a short period of time.
What people have to understand in a fiat currency system, inflation goes one of two places, either internally or externally. All right. And the reason our eggs are $9 a damn thing, not only because they are literally torching our eggplants, and I mean egg manufacturing plants, not eggplant.
Right. I get what you're saying. And and I think there's some fuckery going on with the feed as well.
Oh, absolutely. But outside of America, there's no demand for the dollar. That's why the inflation is hitting us in America, because in the old days, in the early 80s and late 70s, once we got off of gold, that's all we did. We shipped our inflation, our money printing, offshore. So everyone else's prices rose and ours stayed relatively stable.
Which is why a lot of people around the world, like globally, think of Americans as being spoiled. You know, we haven't really felt a lot of the pains of the rest of the world have experienced because of the fact of what the dollar represented at that time. But yeah, we're seeing the decline of that, not only of the dollar, but the entire fiat system, which is, I think, why they're trying to usher in the CBDCs so they can get better control over the monetary crap that's going on, because they say they can get a better handle on inflation. They're going to try to give a lot of perks for why people should want to accept a CBDC.
No,
The Fed now is going to be launching between May and July. It's happening.
yeah,
And other countries are already piloting and talking about CBDCs. I even heard something about the Bank of England and England about restricting how much
yeah, you
CBDCs
can't.
people would be able to store or like save.
Yeah, yeah, it's all a lie. It's all an illusion. All right. The CBCDs are a lie. It's no one's going to accept them. Now,
Well, I think there's going to be an event taking place between now and then. It's going to usher people into it.
oh, I
And it
agree.
could even be something as drastic as a reason for an internet shutdown. And in order to log back on, you have to be identified, which will associate with the digital ID, which will go back to your social credit score with your CBDCs and kind of put us in that 1984 Orwellian world, or Brave New World, Aldous Huxley.
Hang on one second. Let me show you something.
Sure.
Let me show you why I now live in Florida.
And before we wrap things up, the last thing I want to ask you, I know we're not done yet, but the last thing I do want to talk about is this crypto club / education center in Sarasota that you're going to be launching very soon.
Yeah, let me share this screen real quick.
There we go.
All right. This is one of my companies. All right. We sell crypto laptops that are specifically for cryptocurrencies. Then we sell Liberty laptops. What a Liberty laptop is, all right, is oh, hang on one second. There we go. All right. It is a Windows or an Apple Air, all right, but it's literally made so that all of the chips and all of the software cannot report off of the laptop. What it does is it removes the laptop's ability to report on the person or hold information for the person using it. And we have software on there that literally allows you to wipe yourself off the internet using what is called the right to be forgotten.
Okay.
All right.
Interesting. I definitely have to look more into this.
Oh, you are an affiliate.
Is this a partnership with another company, Liberty Laptops, or is that your company?
No. That's Calyx Solutions is my I own the actual company.
No, I know that, but I wasn't sure if Liberty Laptops was a separate company that you partnered up with.
No. We produce them up in St. Louis, Missouri, mid-American product. And and right now, if you purchase either a crypto laptop or a Liberty laptop, you are entered to win a free laptop that you can give away.
Nice.
And anyone interested in either, just check out the website calyxsolutions.io, or you call 702-845-8276, and one of our one of our office people will help. And it's how you get around. Let me stop that.
No, look, I wasn't going to bring this up, but since you brought it up, I want to go ahead and clear. Like, I had heard something that had happened with your former laptops, and I don't think it involved you.
No,
someone who, like, I guess people who might have purchased laptops before you, someone was reaching out to those individuals pretending to be either yourself or people who worked at Calyx and were ultimately, I think, scam people. And if I'm not sure, there's an FBI investigation on it.
Yes.
I know that wasn't you.
No.
But I figured we could clarify this while we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. No. Someone was actually sending out emails and had got a hold of a phone list off of one of our old business associates had a list of a few of our clients' phone numbers. They had helped out with implementing wallet technology on their laptop. And so, yeah, as soon as we heard, we were like, FBI, and we hope we got a hold of the good FBI and not the bad FBI.
But you guys have protocols in place, though, to prevent that from happening in the future?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I just don't want people to feel like if they were to purchase something that they're putting themselves at risk, and I wanted to clarify that as much as possible.
No. Calyx has never been hacked. No one's ever gotten any information stolen off their laptops. None of our laptops have ever been hacked.
Right. It was someone, I think someone spoofing like it was you on a phone or something like that, which is, if people have any hacking abilities or any coding abilities, stuff like that's not extremely hard.
Yeah,
people need to make sure that they always do their due diligence.
Yep.
If I got contacted by someone that claimed to be you, I would obviously, I know whether it's you or not now, but there's ways of people to be able to verify that stuff instead of just accepting things are the way that they are.
Never click on links. That's why it's a crypto only laptop. This is not your everyday use laptop.
Right.
This is strictly for cryptos. And
cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you taking time to explain that. And like I said, I definitely want to dig into it and learn a little bit more.
Yep. And if any of the viewers are interested in any of our laptops, when you call or when you visit the site, make sure that you type in ricecrypto. And that way we can pay Rice his due.
Cool, man. I appreciate that.
Hey, we ought anyone who's like, oh, you guys are in it for the money. Well, hell yeah.
We got to survive. I mean, we're not trying. Right. There's a difference in how people can be with what they're doing. And, but this is what we do full time. So any ways that we can bring in different forms of passive income helps us to be able to ultimately be able to pay our bills. That's why I have to give shout out to my sponsors, because I make maybe $350 if I'm lucky a month between YouTube and Patreon. That's not a lot. My Patreon, I don't have as many patrons as you. So, but with that being said, the sponsors help out, and my partnership with Money Metals Exchange and ITM trading and things like that. All those are ways that people can support our channels.
Yeah,
100%.
It's we're all in the money making business. You have to be. And if you want to change the world, you basically have to buy it.
Yeah, fuck you, money helps.
Yes, it does.
That's what I've
It
started to
helps a
come to
lot.
the realization. Fuck you money definitely helps you to say fuck you.
Yeah, it's a whole lot easier to say fuck you when you got money.
Yeah,
And
100%.
it's we have to help each other get, like, I'd love it at our new venue when we open it. There will be an area that will be a YouTube studio. I'd love it if you actually come and actually do a show with me
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. I
live
mean,
from there. I'll fly you down. We'll put you up in a hotel for a couple days,
you know,
and
I'd love to come visit, man, and I definitely would love to support what you're doing. Because when you were telling me about this off air before we went live, I was like, "Are you talking about like a co-op workspace, like a professional kind of?" And you're like, "No, I'm talking about like a sports bar, but take out sports and replace it with cryptocurrency and sound money."
yeah,
And then you
it's
said that you would have like meetups and some educational things taking place there. So yeah, dude, I think that's a
history
killer idea.
classes on real history, educate people on the Constitution. You know, I'm a huge history buff, and I was doing an interview about a month ago on some woke show. They screwed up because whoever does their producing, they thought I was only like crypto YouTuber. And they start talking all this woke shit. And I'm like, you guys know that none of what you have said is historically accurate. And they're like, oh, really, Mr. White Man, or whatever the hell she said. And I go, yeah. I said, did you know that Ben, uh, Benjamin Franklin was a slave and he ran away when he was 13 years old from actually being
Like an indentured servant?
yeah.
I
Yep.
didn't know that. That's a piece of history I didn't know about. But we're lied to about a lot of our history at the same time,
That's
though, too.
because it wouldn't make any sense if you knew that Benjamin Franklin abandoned his contract of indentured servitude and ran away owing a debt. See, there never were any slaves. That it's this huge lie that everyone's like, oh, slavery sucked, and slavery was so hard. There were no, these were people that sold labor contracts of themselves and their children.
Yeah, because if you didn't have money back then, you usually worked for someone else, and that's where you became an indentured servant. And when I started researching about my family history after the Civil or after the Revolutionary War, during that time period, a lot of it, if you didn't own land, for the most part, you were an indentured servant.
Yeah, that's they didn't have employees.
That was basically your job.
Yeah,
But you volunteered to be what we would call today a slave. But there's a difference in between involuntary and voluntary slavery, and that's another question and more bullshit history too.
Right. There wasn't involuntary slavery until a black slave owner sued a black indentured servant for her child. because he look it up. It's a
I have
famous.
to see this show that you were on with these woke people.
Oh, she never put it out.
Oh, it never came out.
Nope. Because they're sitting there talking, and we never even talked about cryptos. It never got that far. Because
Wow.
as soon as because I'm in the green room, like listening, and I'm going, this is all bullshit. That none of what they have said is true.
That's hilarious.
So I came out and I started telling her, and I'm like, "You don't believe me?" And she's like, "No, I don't believe you." And I go, "Google it." Benjamin Franklin was an indentured servant and ran away from his labor obligations when he was 14 years old.
That's crazy.
And but yet you tell people the truth that the reason there was non-indentured slavery was because a black slave owner sued a black indentured servant, and and they claimed that the child was produced because the legal definition for a woman having a child back then included the word labor. So the indentured servant, because him and his wife couldn't have kids, the owner of her contract sued for the child because his wife wanted a child and they couldn't have children. So he sued and argued that since the woman had produced the child under labor, that everything her labor produced was his.
That's really, I mean, that's fascinating. I don't even know where the hell you would have learned that piece of information.
Oh, I only read original source writing.
That's really the only way you can go nowadays.
Yeah, and I had heard of that court case years ago, so I actually went and I read the records of the original case from the Supreme Court. And what was crazy is right after he won that case, that was when they changed, or that's what led into the Civil War, because that changed the language from labor into the child was then actually birthed in like a ship.
Yeah.
All right. And it is like when you have a truthful picture of history, it's hard to even talk to anybody nowadays. I have professors who I've argued with, and no,
me too. I've had many arguments with professors.
PhD level historians who don't have a damn idea about history. And they'll argue, well, the Civil War was about slavery. No, it wasn't, you idiot, son of a bitch. You know, and if anybody tells you, all right, then if the Civil War was about pure slavery, what is the Emancipation Proclamation? What does emancipation mean?
I don't actually technically know the definition of emancipation, but to separate
Right.
from.
No. Oh, you're close. You're close. See, that's where they get you. That's where the progressives ended, which now this is going to touch a third rail. You ready?
Sure. Just don't get my channel shut down like you've done 3 times to yours.
All right. There's a group. They're known as the Khazarian Mafia.
Okay, the Khazars, yes.
All right.
Located in what we consider to be modern day Ukraine.
Bingo. They claim to be Jewish. They're not.
Yeah, they're more Luciferian devil worshippers or something to that effect.
Yeah, they are a Germanic tribe originally, and they are who. Man, it's a deep rabbit hole. See,
Well, I mean, I know a lot
you,
about this, but yeah, I mean, it's long. You said you have time, so I'm here.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
No.
Because you're going down some places that we can't confine in a short space.
There's someone going, "Oh, Ben, don't do it. Oh, don't do it."
No, I mean, I've been pretty good. I don't think we've said anything that would constitute the YouTube overlords having any problem here. So, I mean, I've been treading a careful line, but it'll be okay. Well, I think we're okay. If it gets too crazy, I'll just whoa you back in.
No, I got you. All right. So the Khazarian Mafia is who Hitler went after. All right.
Hitler, yeah, no, I mean, I've heard different perspectives about Hitler being.
No, Hitler's not a good guy.
Right, but he had, in that aspect, he had intentions to get rid of something that was an evil to the world. A plague upon the world.
Yes. All right. And Kanye West, whether you like him or not, that boy's spitting some truth right now. All right.
Yeah, because he's not talking about Hebrew people. He's talking about what we know of as the Jewish people in our modern history is the Khazarian Mafia.
Yeah. He ain't talking about none of the tribes out of Israel. Let's say that. All right. Everyone he's actually talking about ain't none of them Jewish. All right. Not a one of them. And the problem is they've created this third rail, of anti, you're an anti, what do they call it?
Anti-Semitic.
Yeah, you're anti-Semitic. Well, no, I'm not, because you're not Semitic. All right? Sorry, you're not Jewish.
Now, I would also put so people have an idea too, the Rothschilds would be under that moniker as well.
Yeah.
Under the Khazars.
Yes. Why do you think he changed his name to Rothschild? Because he assumed a Jewish name. All right? He prior to that, they weren't Jews.
No, it's convenient. I know it's very convenient to take on that role.
Rothschild, that's when he switched over to being a quote unquote Jew is when he changed his name to Red Shield. All right.
Rothschild.
Right. And everyone knows that story. But when you say, okay, do you understand that Rothschild is not a Jew?
Not Jew in the Jewish, in the sense that we think of what Jews are. It's crazy, like what we think Jews are aren't Jews, and what Jews are is what we don't. It's just it's ass backwards.
Yeah.
Where the way that the Khazars have been able to like assimilate and assume that whole religion almost.
Right. I'm telling you right now, there isn't a real Jew that looks like me. Real Jewish people are actually black or Middle Eastern.
Dark skin.
Yeah. There's, right, a real Jew doesn't have to wear sunscreen. Right? So all these cracker ass white people who are claiming that they're Jewish, they're full of shit.
But if you go back through history, there was a reason why they assumed that, and then it benefited them to continue that masquerade. It was, from what I understood, I think it was a Russian. It wouldn't be a king, Khazar. I don't know what you would call the title, but a Russian leader had basically told that region of people, like, the ways that they were living as Satanists, Luciferians, however you want to consider it, were an abomination and were going to be killed, and they needed to, what's the word, when convert over to one of the Abrahamic religions, and gave the offer of whether it would be Islam, Judaism, or Christianity.
Yeah,
they chose it, Judaism.
The issue is they were pirates. All right, they were non-Muslim pirates. Most pirates, and we are going back in the old days with the East Indian Trade Company.
Back before America was America.
Yeah.
When we were still kind of like plantations, company stores, basically.
Even before that, when America wasn't there were people here, and there was Spanish in Florida and all that, but before, Columbus sailed the ocean blue bullshit. Prior to that, the Khazarian people were liars. Their whole tribe and their whole areas were known as liars. They were unhonest people. In fact, I think they were named like the name stealers. I think that's what Cliff High calls them.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. So they basically, the Germanic tribes around them, right, and some of the Muslims and the East Indian Trade Company, who had lost a lot of ships to them, basically hired the Muslims to go over and have a little chat with them and go, look, you either get wiped out as a species, or you become Muslim, Catholic, or Jewish. The Muslims would not let them become Muslims. They literally said, if you try to adopt our religion because you are false speakers, we will kill every single one of you.
And you're talking about Islam?
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting, Ben, that I've learned just over the past year is when it comes to like these older religions and of the Abrahamic religions, the Islamic people are the one group that has stayed more true to their beliefs. I may not agree with the beliefs, but they
Islam,
stayed like
they don't
the whole idea
around.
of usury and a debt-based system. That's that's the reason why a lot of these Middle Eastern countries don't want to participate in the global banking structures. It's really and that's why they're accepting of stuff like cryptocurrency and Bitcoin.
Yeah. Why do you think so many people are going over to the Middle East? I have friends who went there for a week and then moved there. He's like, Ben, you don't even understand. It's like America 2.0, except better. It's over there, women act like women, and it is valued by the men. So the men reward the women for acting like women. And men, your honor is everything over there. You don't go over to Dubai and talk shit.
Shout out to Mr. David Brumbelow.
Hey, what's up, bro? Hey, how are you, bro?
So Bitcoin Ben is the very first crypto influencer I ever listened to. I first listened to him in 2017. You and I need new conspiracy theories because all the older ones are facts now. Like and subscribe. Dave, he lives here in Winston-Salem. Like he lives where I live. We've hung out once, and we're gonna hang out some more times.
Yeah, it's America's a joke now. And we're not even a good joke. We're like a falls flat on its face joke.
Yeah.
We don't know our history. Most of the mainstream media is filled with the dumbest people. In the old days, right? In the old days, America was respected because America was viewed as honest.
Your buddy's in the house.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, Sam Brinkman Fried.
Him and Gary Gensler like to troll the chats here.
Yeah, well, they should because they know each other.
That's why he was saying it's a joke.
Yeah, it's that's a whole nother topic.
Well, you mentioned Cliff High, and there was something I did want to pick your brain about. When I think I had reached out to you right before the end of the year, maybe to connect up, and then we had to something happened. I can't remember, but I wanted to pick your brain on something that Cliff High, since you brought Cliff High's name up, that he started talking about, which is something I've been researching for years now, is the law stuff. Like I don't have the video offhand, but Cliff did talk because it reminded me when you talked about labor being changed to birth and said birth like a ship. And then you look at some of the things that Cliff was talking about in the videos where he shared two little small books, which basically talk about an artificial legal entity being created at your birth.
Yep.
Some people look into status correction, saying that your U.S. citizenship puts you under the jurisdiction of the federal government. This was something that when I came out to your meetup October 2020, I was trying to like drill down your throat. I don't know if you're ready for it. If I was just coming on too strong. What are your thoughts about all that?
Oh, that's why the Kasarian Mafia, most of them are lawyers, because they, after this or prior to the Civil War, America was a republic that was actually grounded in the idea of common law.
I found the video.
Right? Now, common law is the origins of common law go all the way back to like England and early England, and it's that's a great video.
Well, this is the video I was talking about, and then I even told Cliff, like, hey, Cliff, you know, like, I really want to talk with you about this subject because this is something that I was looking into for quite some time. I'm just now kind of coming more to the realization. My friend Ammon Bundy, you know, he was involved with the Bundy standoff. He has an article that he sent to me that I'm going to be sharing in a video, but it was basically talking about all these things in regards to what I call the legal fiction, and saying that there is no answer with a corrupt fucking government.
Right. The government is the corrupted entity. It was corrupted from its creation. Right.
But definitely once the Civil War took place, there was, instead of a restoration of our nation, of our republic, it was a federal government takeover.
That's why it was called the Reconstruction phase and not the restoration phase.
But they were still supposed to be reconstructing the republic. It was still supposed to be bringing back our form of government that we had.
No.
Well, then Lincoln was assassinated. And then we had the Act of 1871 take place.
Yep. Lincoln, if Lincoln would have lived, we would have had a reconstruction of America with under what is called common law bankruptcy rights. All right. The Civil War was a bankruptcy of America. That's why Abraham Lincoln launched the greenback, and then he was killed. See, they didn't kill him until he launched the greenback, because that was out of the Treasury Department.
Right.
Oh no, that's not what they want. They want centralized banking. So they had their good friend and actor, right, assassinate Lincoln. Right. Hollywood, California is just Italy moved to America, and France moved to America. All of the London Jews are Khazarian Jews, right? And all of the Italian Jews and the Roman art Jews, they all went to California, right? This is initially New York but worked their way out to California. That's a whole different story. But the theater,
Okay.
the theater was the pipeline for the Khazarian Jewish of the time. The Enlightenment went through the arts, right? Shakespeare was actually part of the Enlightenment, you know, and what it was replacing human nature and nature with quote unquote science. That's what the Enlightenment was that's what the Salem witch trials was. The breakaway of the old way and the introduction to the new way. Right? The new way would not be led by nature. The new way would be led by man manipulating nature
Artificially.
All right. Now, humans can manipulate nature, except I say we because this is what we are. We understand humans are just energy. We're a certain frequency of energy. And energy frequency can alter and manipulate other energy frequencies. Right?
Okay.
So prior to the age of enlightenment, we had what were known as witch doctors. We had what were known as warlocks. We had and a lot of them relied on psychedelics to actually get answers out of what they called exactly the shirt you're wearing.
My favorite.
Right.
Psilocybin.
Well, what a lot of people don't realize is that God and the earth, God gave us a way to speak to God.
Okay.
All right. In the Bible, they call it manna. All right. That while the tribes were walking through the desert, the manna would fall from the sky. That was fungus.
A lot of people speculate that because it said that I think the sunlight would dissolve or not destroy, but the manna would be no good after the sun hit it. And that's how psilocybin in nature grows overnight. And when the sun hits it, boom, it's gone. It's lost all of it.
Yeah,
and that's interesting too, man, because that kind of goes even further back with human evolution with the stoned ape theory about our mind progressing from older humans eating mushrooms.
Yeah.
And expanding our consciousness.
We're not who we think we are, right? Humans are more magic than we are anything, right? We are literally the physical representation of harmony of frequency of a soul. Now, let me explain that.
You're going deep, my homie.
Oh, dude, I'll go grab a shovel, fellas. We'll go deep, right? Your soul exists everywhere. Your soul is a broadcast frequency. You are a frequency level of the universe. You are part of the universe. Your DNA picks up the frequency of your soul. That's why it's shaped like a coil. Any truck driver will tell you that the most efficient antenna is a coil.
Okay.
All right. Now, your DNA structure, all of the little blueprints and all of the instruction information in your DNA is an energetic representation of your frequency. So, all right, imagine this. When you are conceived in your mother's womb, there's an egg and there's a sperm.
Okay.
Right? As soon as they touch, there's a little flash of light. You can only see it under a microscope. All right. Now, that is the creation of your very first piece of DNA. Because that flash is inside your mother's lining, all right, of her uterus. Now, any woman and any doctor will tell you that a woman can ovulate for about 6 or 7 days, give or take a few days. What ovulation is it's the ovulation of pressure inside of her womb, right? What's going on is and it takes the right pressure and the right temperature, because temperature is equal to pressure. Anyone who's ever worked with AC units knows that.
Right.
Right. So as the sperm hits the egg, it hits and there's a little flash. That little flash is a creation from an event called frequency friction. Frequency friction creates a molecule of you. And I mean the lowest level of carbon of you that can exist.
Okay.
Right? Think of it as ash. You originate as a piece of ash from the frequency of sound and light and pressure. That's why they say ashes to ashes, dust to dust, because you originate in your mother's womb as a piece of carbon, a little molecule that add the moisture of the womb and the frequency with the pressure gives it moisture.
Okay.
And as it grows, you originally grow as a fungus more than a human. That's why we're called fetus, because
Okay.
we are a fungus before we are a fetus.
And we are definitely more related to fungi than I think any other kingdoms. And that's why we have found that fungi has been like what we use for most of our antibiotics, things to that effect.
Bingo. What people have to understand is that humans are so much more than we think we are. And as we grow and as we get out of our fungus fetus stage and we go into our cellular stage and we're splitting and splitting and splitting
And growing and
right,
arms and fingers and legs and toes.
bingo, that's when our DNA is shaping how we look, how we're shaped. We look like our mothers, we look like our fathers. The reason we are is because our DNA is
Like based on, it's like 20, if I remember my science correctly, 23 chromosomes from each to form the 46 to make the zygote. The zygote is the egg that turns into us, if I have that correct.
yes. And so as we grow, our soul is picked up. Like once we have our DNA, our soul enters our body inside of our mother's womb. Right now,
Or inside your mother's vessel, or you're the vessel, the storage dock of the vessel,
right,
carrying the cargo, so that when you're
Yep.
born, they can give a manifest with your live birth certificate.
Yep. And so that's, you asked any parent this. When my children were born, they had the personality that they will have for the rest of their lives. My son came out of his mother's womb quiet, very just kind of like to himself, kind of just hung out, real easygoing baby. My daughter wouldn't shut the hell up, used to beat the hell out of him inside the womb because they were twins.
Okay.
And because your soul is part of the universe, it's all together. We're not separate from each other. Like the humans have a certain frequency band in which we all exist, our souls.
Okay.
Right. It's why we can feel whenever someone else is in the room, because we are all on approximately the same consciousness frequency. That's why mothers have mother's intuition, because they're the closest to a child's DNA. They created it. They grew it. And all that is that a mother's DNA is so close to the child's DNA that the mother feels the echo of the child's soul.
Well, another thing too, they talk about DNA retains memory. We're supposed to be able to tap into the memories of our previous generations. So in a way, it's like an extension of yourself. So a mother and father intuition.
No. The knowledge is held in the universe, the collective conscious. All right. Now, the last video I did on one of my YouTube channels is when I talked about this. Humans run on blockchain.
Okay. Do we have 10-minute block times?
Some of us faster, some of us slower.
Some of us could be Litecoin, some of us could be Bitcoin.
Yeah. It kind of depends on if you have segregated witness.
Okay.
It's no. Our blockchain is actually our DNA in a way, right? Because our DNA is our public and private seed.
Okay.
Right. And we use our private seed to access the collective consciousness every day. Right. And we upload our knowledge into the collective conscious every second that we are conscious. So we are continuously updating the collective conscious using the private seeds of our DNA to access the cloud of the collective conscious. Right?
Okay.
So your DNA is basically just your private keys that unlock the information in the blockchain known as the collective conscious. Now, a child is just like the idea of a reward of a Bitcoin.
Like a block reward.
Yeah. That block reward creates a Bitcoin. That Bitcoin is forever tied to that origination block. And it holds encrypted the knowledge of the full chain in that one Bitcoin through accessing the blockchain of the Bitcoin blockchain.
Okay. This is interesting.
Right? So the longer the human knowledge blockchain gets, each child that is born has the instinct or the ability to reference important knowledge that was impressed or imprinted on the collective consciousness of humans. Right? So here's an example. Why is it that a 90-year-old man, you hand him an iPhone, he's clueless. A 3-year-old will be writing software on that son of a bitch in an afternoon.
Yeah.
It isn't because the 3-year-old's smarter than the 90-year-old. It's because the 3-year-old has 97 years of collective human knowledge that was uploaded into the collective knowledge that the 90-year-old wasn't born with.
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
That's why humans advance faster the longer we go, because each human isn't starting at 0.
Right. They're starting at block, whatever the number might be. So they have all that history from the blocks prior to already inputted into the system.
Yep. And they are born, and they're like, they actually pick up a phone, like an iPhone or an iPad, and it's their instincts that it's comfortable. It isn't hard to understand, because generationally their instinct has grown with the technology. Like, when we think of instinct, we think, oh, fight and flight, or fire's hot. That's not what instinct is. Instinct is an event, all right? An event that was imprinted on the human consciousness blockchain because it was important. And that imprint is like, here's a great example, is when you're first driving and you hit your first patch of snow or ice, and you flip the shit out, and you're like, Jesus Christ! The chemicals in your body are released. You have testosterone. You have
I don't want to keep helping you out with words. I feel bad when I do that, but adrenaline.
No. It isn't that I can't pronounce it. I can't remember.
I know you can.
Adrenaline.
You did it, my friend.
Yeah, it's my problem is my brain moves too fast.
I know you well, and I know, and that's, I mean, if I'm with you in person, I wouldn't have a problem just saying adrenaline, but I don't want to do it when I'm like on a live stream with you, because I feel like it's rude for other people to see that. I know you're accepting of how I communicate with you.
It's we've known each other so long. Yeah, if I'm stuck on something, throw something at me. All right, Lou over here gets it. All right, Lou says, so you got keys for your lineage knowledge. Yes, but we're all the same lineage. That's the key.
We all have the same Genesis block.
Yes, we all have the same Genesis block. All right, now let's go back. What is the world? What is the universe? It's all frequency. All right, it's all frequency. Nikolai Tesla told us, once you understand 369, you understand the universe. Hey, is that crypto blood?
That's crypto blood. That's my other brother from another mother.
Oh, dude, I ain't talked to crypto blood in a bit. That's another old school right there,
Well, hey,
man.
now I'm going to go ahead and extend an invitation for you. I know Blood's going to be laughing, but he does his Sunday live streams. It's off the chain. Sometimes it starts between 3 and 5. If you're available, I'm sure he'd love to get you on the show.
Unfortunately, I'm not, man. I do have to run. But hey, crypto blood, I'm going to reach out to you on Twitter. Hey, let's actually do a show, me, you, crypto blood, next Tuesday at 3.
I'm down, and Blood's watching. So, yeah, we'll just get some confirmation from him, and we can definitely do that.
Now, that'd be a show.
That would be a show.
That'd be a show, man.
And I don't even know how the conversation got to where it did. We're an hour and a half into it. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, but I did want to kind of, before we wrap things up, and I've got things I got to do here in a little bit myself. What are your current thoughts on the cryptocurrency market now? And
I'm bullish.
Because you've made videos talking, and I called this video Bitcoin is will lead people to true freedom, I think is the title. And you said that in previous videos. Is this the year that Bitcoin is going to lead people to true freedom, in your opinion, and why?
Yeah. But the reason I say that, and the reason saying that is true, is you go to El Salvador and look at the environment there. I go there, it's a completely different world. We got people talking about Bitcoin, exchanging Bitcoin, shopping with Bitcoin. The rest of the world is leaving the Western world behind. See, Americans think that America leads the world. America ain't leading shit but a punchline. All right?
Good one.
It's literally look at Dubai. Look at the Middle East, for crying out loud. The Middle East has got so much money. They are purchasing our great golfers. The Middle East is literally purchasing the best of our talent.
They're trying. There's talks that they were trying to buy the WWE.
Yeah, and mark my words, man. Mark my words. Have you guys heard of? Watch for this on the Super Bowl.
Okay.
The American Football League, or no, the World Football League, with other football teams that play other football teams all over the globe.
Would they call it football though? Because soccer's called football. That'd be really confusing, wouldn't it?
It's
I just had to throw that in for all the football soccer fans.
Oh yeah, I'm globalism is happening, but it's good globalism. It's decentralized globalism.
It's not the Mother Weffers type of globalism.
Yeah. Did you see that half of the people who had tickets didn't even go?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that is because the public sentiment is so negative, and they just, at some point, you're guilty by association. So I think even though these people might be guilty, they don't want to be associated.
Well, from what I've heard, there's Washington, D.C., the reason it's locked down is they're losing employees. People are leaving the bureaucracy because why do you think our nuclear czar was a transgendered luggage thief? Is it because
That's a good question.
no one else applied?
Yeah, they wouldn't give me the job, man. They gave it to that. Not me, but that.
Right, but I'm being serious.
I was willing to do the job. I was serious. I'm serious too, Ben.
Right. But what I'm saying is that it's all an illusion, folks. The IRS has lost 50% of their employees in the last 2 years. Did you know that?
And they've got roughly like somewhere close to 40% retiring over the next 2 to 3 years as well, which is why the 87,000 employee thing isn't such a big deal. And then another
No
alarming thing
one's
that
applying. They haven't hired a new IRS agent to actually like go after someone. I think last year they were able to hire 400 of them.
Yeah, but now you have, like, with this new Republican Speaker of the House, McCarthy, and there's the language of we're going to undo the 87,000 agent legislation. And then there's even talk about abolishing. And the one thing that I will leave people with thinking about, and maybe we can continue this with our conversation with Blood next week, is that if we have a CBDC that's programmable money, that's not what we want. That gives the banks and central banks more control, and it could be tied to a digital ID and a social credit score system. If we get to that point, why do we need the IRS?
You don't. It's
because it's programmed in to be taken out.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not going to make it that far. The Republicans in the House, see, you guys and us in the Matrix, all we are receiving is the illusion.
The simulated reality.
Yeah. Our government is already dead. It's already done. They're just trying to figure out how in the hell they rebuild the government before anyone realizes it's dead. The bureaucracies are all broken. Nothing is functioning. The only thing they're worried about is making sure the bills are being paid, because as long as the people who are left employed by the government or receive a government paycheck, as long as they keep getting paid, they think the government is functioning. But it's not. That's why the only legislation they're putting together is printing more money. You don't see them trying to create or grow new agencies. This government's dead. It's just nobody's told the public yet. And now the Republicans are, did you know 96% of the Republicans in elected office in Washington, D.C. now will openly say that the 2000 election was rigged, that Joe Biden did not win? 96% of Republicans will say that now. You know why? Because it's common damn knowledge to everyone in Washington, D.C. The only people that don't know it are the few woke retards that no one really cares about, and the Matrix. The Matrix doesn't understand that that the choir's not listening anymore. There's no one paying attention to the Matrix anymore, except the woke retards that don't matter anyway. So as we move along, watch, and everyone watch. The Republicans are not going to raise the debt ceiling. They're not even going to friggin' negotiate. They are going to let this shit show collapse on Joe Biden's watch.
Well, it's ridiculous, dude. I was just listening to a little bit of the McCarthy stuff before we started this, and they were just talking about the interest that we would be paying is more than what we pay all the federal employees, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, we have $31 trillion of debt, and now they want to raise the debt ceiling. It's just, we're at the end of this whole game, man, and that's where crypto comes into play. That's where Bitcoin comes into play.
Why? See, Chairman, I almost called him Chairman Powell. That's funny. Chairman Mao. Oh, wait, I had it wrong. Chairman Powell.
Mao.
Yeah.
You smoke a packet of Pow Mows.
Yeah. He knows we're toast. And he just lit the match. Because
he spoke today, and I haven't had a chance to listen to what he said.
Well, it is.
I don't think it's affected markets negatively though yet.
No, remember, the markets aren't reality.
I know it's very, very separated because we're sitting over 23,000 in Bitcoin, which means that the stock market has not been hit, because if it was, then we would be going down.
Well, I think that's about to be proven the opposite now. And I'll tell you why. Because what everyone has been waiting for is the moment where Powell flips from
hawkish to dovish.
They
say he's already done that, though, because they say he's already capitulated based off the last FOMC meeting, him saying that we only have 225 basis point rate hikes that we're going to do. But that doesn't mean he has to stick to his guns. But a lot of people are saying he already capitulated.
He has to.
Well, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing about the system, is it's going to crash either way.
If you notice, the week that he slightly went a little bit dovish is when Bitcoin started to go up. Then he's like, well, we're not going to do 75. We're only going to do 50 points. Ooh, Bitcoin. Ooh. Now they're like, we're not going to do 50. We're going to do 25. This is the moment. Watch Michael Saylor. Watch what he says in the next month. And you're going to see him come out of his skin yelling, buy Bitcoin. Because it's going to be it's going to make March 2020, which is what got Michael Saylor involved in Bitcoin. It's going to make March 2020 look like a joke. they're gonna have to do overnight repos in the trillions, because the derivatives, this
The
is a
banks don't want to lend.
battle.
Yeah, the banks don't want to lend to each other, so the central banks have to step in.
This is a battle against the derivatives. And the derivatives, see, in 87, everyone was worried about the bonds, the bond vigilantes. It's the derivative vigilantes this time, and it's gonna wipe out this financial. It's
over leveraged. I mean, I think it was the Bank of International Settlements, like within the past 6 months, came out and talked about the dangers of the derivatives markets, and then like this, even the stuff that's not listed more publicly. It's just the amount of leverage in the system. It's a house of cards, man.
Yeah,
but I mean,
absolutely.
They keep propping everything up that would bring it all down. March of 2020, we've seen the stock markets basically crash, and it didn't technically crash because they halted trading, which they did in 2008 when the system would have crashed. But then, quantitative easing came into play. So yeah, man.
Everybody needs to buy some Bitcoin, get some Litecoin, get some Dogecoin, get the silver, get gold.
By the way, Blood City's down for next Tuesday. I want to let you know, though, next Tuesday is Valentine's Day. It's 3:00 p.m. Eastern time. Valentine's Day going to be a problem with you.
Ooh. I'll be up and say.
Just find out from the missus. I know, like, Kelly's the boss, so she wears the pants. Find out from her.
She is. I'm a smart man, and I think Crypto Blood's actually married, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
He knows the rules.
He knows the rules. That's why I wanted to make sure that 3:00. I mean, 3:00 shouldn't be baby making time, but I don't know what Ben Semchee does on Valentine's Day. It could be all day baby making time for all I know.
I don't know if it's baby making time. That's up to mama.
So I'll get in contact before everybody puts it on their calendar. I'll get in contact with you both just to confirm whether or not we're going to do it next Tuesday at 3:00 p.m. Eastern time. But I'm going to have links down below for everything we talked about. We're at almost an hour and 50 minutes. I appreciate your time, and I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Before we wrap up, do you have anything that you want to share? Any final thoughts that you want to add?
I am doing a 3-hour history lesson tomorrow evening on my Patreon channel. So everyone go over to Patreon, join my channel, join Rice TV's channel. Is it Rice? Because I think I'm an ag.
You are. I think I'm one of the few people you actually follow on Patreon, but it is Rice TVX on Patreon. And we definitely need to do more conversations, not on YouTube, where we could speak more freely. And I like having the conversations that we do on your Patreon channel.
Yeah,
we definitely got to do more content together this year, man.
Oh, now that would be Red Snapper says, Ben Cliff picks Rice and Blood. That'd be one hell of a show.
It would, and I think it would probably get us all shut down if we did it on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Especially with that combination. Just Cliff.
Yeah, just Cliff would get shut down.
Just Cliff. I love Cliff.
All right, brother. Man. I love you.
I love you too, man. I'll catch up with you. I want to go ahead and wrap up the live stream, so you can exit out. I appreciate your time, my friend.
No problem. Everyone have a great day.
Much love, dude. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in for today's live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been a while since me and Ben had a conversation like this, and I was glad to be able to do it on YouTube. If you guys have not smashed that like button, I would definitely encourage you to do so. Now, before we wrap up, make sure you head over to Bitcoin Ben's YouTube channel and subscribe over there if you're not already subscribed. I will keep everybody up to date about Win Me Blood, and Ben will do a show, whether it's next Tuesday on Valentine's Day. I'll keep everybody updated. The other thing I wanted to remind people is make sure you're heading over to my website, ricetvx.com, and sign up for my mailing list so you don't miss any updates or new content. I have another channel that I've started, Rice Against the Grain, and I ask you to subscribe to not only this channel, but that channel as well. Once you sign up for the mailing list and close this out, you'll find links to Rice Against the Grain and Rice TVX on YouTube, my Patreon channel, my Rumble, Odyssey, as well as my social media. Here is Rice Against the Grain. Some content that I've released over the past week includes, or actually the past 2 weeks, new content would be a really kick-ass conversation with Jacob Israel. You guys need to check that out if you have not. The view count is way down. If it was on Rice TVX, it would be a different story, but because it's on a new channel, dealing with more shadow banning. I had a conversation with Dr. Narco Longo from Old World, Florida. That was a great conversation. Started diving back into the world of the legal fiction with Mr. Pete Stone from the Sovereign Project. And today I premiered my second interview with Jason Brashears from Archaics. There is a first conversation, and I have a playlist for that. You could check out the playlist section on Rice Against the Grain. If you're a fan of the stranger than fiction content, you will find all of those videos now on Rice Against the Grain, and that is because of censorship. And if you haven't seen the video that I put out, where is it? This one right here. It had to be done to keep Rice TVX. I'll go ahead and copy and paste this and throw this into the live chat. So if you haven't seen this video, it had to be done to keep Rice TVX. It'll explain a lot more about everything that's been happening with the channel, with me having to split up the content and all that good stuff. I do appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, make sure you are subscribed to both channels. I appreciate everybody for taking the time to be with us today. Johnny, thank you for that compliment. And definitely get in touch with me, man. I would like to learn more about your cannabis and mushroom research. Red Snapper, thank you. Thank you, RC Rex, Randy, everybody else is in the house. Ruel, David Brumbelow. I cannot name everybody. Gulag, CB, thank you again for tuning in. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I have not set it up, but I will be going live tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Well, actually, I got 2 live streams. I'm not going to be going live at 3, but I'm going live on another channel tomorrow at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, and that is Debate Crypto. So tune in for my appearance on Debate Crypto, 3 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, and then 4 p.m. I will be scheduling this here after this live stream. 4 p.m. Eastern time, I will be going live with DZ. Most of you know him from BitBoy Crypto as one of the hosts of the morning show and also one of the hosts of Around the Blockchain and one half of NFT Alpha. So DZ will be on the channel tomorrow at 4 o'clock p.m. So 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on Debate Crypto, and then 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on Rice TVX with DZ. So be sure to tune in. Lots more content coming your way. And I do appreciate everybody for taking the time to join. Again, if you guys have not smashed that like button, please take time to do so because it does help people to find these videos in the YouTube algorithm flow. Thank you again for your time. And before I wrap things up, I want to leave you with this. I encourage you, each and every one of you who has ears to listen. Hear ye, hear ye. Be a blessing to others. Treat people how you want to be treated. Be the glitch you want to see in the matrix. Be the change that you want to see in the world. And until next time, practice change.